Three, two, one. Welcome, guys.
Welcome to the Grown Up Alternative Podcast. I'm Joe Woods.
I'm Harris Ahmed. What's up?
So, if you guys don't know already, if you haven't seen our little demo thing before, we are the Grown Up Alternative Podcast. We look into the DIY ethics of teenage musicians, teenage local rock scenes, and we see how, as adults, we can use those practices we learn as teenagers and convert them into worthwhile skills, whether it be career-wise or just for general life.
Yeah, man.
So, Harris, I just want to take this for today. Today's a sort of topic conversation. I want to take the topic of reaching out to people, talking to people you've never met before.
All right. In what context? In terms of like a work context, and just like approaching the opposite.
The thing is, in regards to, let's say, dating, that's just something that comes naturally. Everyone does that anyway. Reaching out to someone, particularly online, that they don't know, is a pretty common thing at this point. So that's not needed. I'm talking about more career-wise.
Career-wise.
Whether it be career as in trying to find a new job, or trying to find your way into an industry, or trying to set up some kind of endeavour, whether it be entrepreneurial.
So, in an entrepreneurial kind of sense.
Yeah.
What's a life skill, isn't it? How are you going to progress if you don't have the balls to reach out?
I mean, it's basically just to make this point clear, I suppose we are talking about networking, in a sense.
Yeah, so it transitions into networking. It's like people that, they might have all the high grades in high school and stuff, but they're basically too shy to approach anyone, and therefore, like, you have one guy who's probably got mediocre grades, but, he's got the balls to go out there and ask and get stuff done.
That's exactly what I was.
And then you have the guy that was, like, really good at high school, but never really had the social skills to kind of put themselves out there.
Yep.
They kind of just stay in this little bubble and never get to kind of go past that with their true potential.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It's a life skill. It's like they call it the University of Life, right?
I mean, I don't know if you want me to kind of go into this, but I remember you when we met as teenagers. Yeah. I know you were I don't think you were outcasted, but I know you felt kind of outside of a lot of people. Well,
it was a whole new world.
Sense.
I was like listening to metal for the first time, and none of my actual like high school friends did.
Yeah.
Then I met you guys, and you were like, "Oh, I listen to Children of Bodom," and I was like, "Oh my god, so do I!" It was like a big deal, but
yeah,
I was just very different. I was not the typical kid that would listen to metal, so it was
I think because
adjusting to that. Sort
of me and our friends as a group, we played metal and punk. We played in bands. We played with other bands. We were very much in the loop with other people of our age and older, in like a scene sense. I think when we met you, I think you were kind of, as you said, you felt a bit outside of your peers in a sense. You weren't part of a local scene. You weren't really playing in bands with anyone. I think.
Yeah, I think it was more like I loved the company.
Yeah.
I loved the conversation, but when it came to like the actual socializing aspect, some of it was not for me because obviously I don't drink.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not going to get fucked and get drunk with you guys.
But the point I'm trying to make was, I think after you realised there was a world beyond the people you knew at school, I think you kind of went into you really gained your knowledge in regards to reaching out to people online.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Getting to know people via networking, whether it be instant messaging people via your MySpace or your Facebook page, whether it be getting hold of someone, just asking for contacts from the people around you, of people you didn't know but could help you out.
Yeah, I think it kind of like once you started, when I got into the scene and met all these new people, and you kind of like find a way to find that relationship, that kind of common ground, and you kind of use that to kind of bring yourself into a clique. You kind of translate that online.
Yeah.
And because like MySpace is kind of like the introduction to what we have now, which is like Instagram, Facebook, all the social media kind of platforms, right?
Yes. Yeah.
At the time, it was a big deal.
Yes.
And it was like reaching out to someone and being like, "Hey, we have this in common," or "Hey, like I see you like this, like this is so cool. We should connect."
I think MySpace was super DIY for its time. You compare it to the rest.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm going on to now is like, so that was cool. It was like a big novelty. Yeah. But if translate that into 2018, 2019, it's like it doesn't work anymore. People are fed up of that. It's no longer a novelty. Like, you DM someone and
Yeah.
just like,
And now they
it
want
wouldn't
you.
work.
Now, yeah, if you receive
you know what they're after.
yeah, if you receive a DM from someone on, let's say, Instagram, you know what they're after.
And it's annoying.
It's annoying. It's it's something to further their career, or it's something basically just to further their side of things.
It's come into the category of like follow and unfollow someone.
MySpace had a community feel. That's why I say why MySpace was punk as fuck. It had a community feel, and you had scenes. Our whole local scene came out of MySpace.
That is so true. What is the UK's biggest band right now? Bring Me Horizon?
Bring Me Horizon absolutely came out of MySpace.
They were... And Panic at the Disco?
Yeah, exactly.
What about... Okay, I know Fall Out Boy is not a UK band, but they were a MySpace band, right?
Fall Out Boy I think was a slight bit earlier, but in regards to...
But I think they blew up on MySpace.
Maybe so, yeah.
There were some other bands which were MySpace era.
In regards to how our local scene works, so for people who don't know the geography of North and East London, there's a real famous old venue called the Standard Music Venue in Walthamstow. But, I mean, you laugh, but, I mean, this place was legendary. I mean, it held some really famous acts back in the 80s and 70s. But in the sort of mid-2000s, it was kind of on its last legs, and it was just hosting tribute acts. And what happened was... a few of us in some of these local little bands, we got together on MySpace, we got to know each other. We wanted somewhere to play, so we just approached the Standard, and there was someone we knew who vaguely knew who was putting on nights there. And we just said, if you need bands, we're all here. So there was a group of us local bands, us local metal bands, because this promoter was just putting on random little like old punk bands and like indie bands, all on bills that didn't make sense. When us as young teenagers with... You have to remember, because teenagers under the drinking age all need somewhere to go and hang out. When they've got friends who are all playing bands and playing a local music scene, they all go there. So we could offer the promoter quite high admissions in regards to numbers, and we said, you've got a whole lineup of bands here you can use every month. And that's what happened. So we formed on MySpace. All these bands that didn't know each other, but all relatively local to each other.
It's funny, right? Because after that...
we created a scene just by approaching the Standard and just saying, yo, help us out.
After that, Standard kind of shut down. Your friendship circle was basically the people you met in those bands.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I have no friends who I'm friends with now that I went to high school with. My friends now were probably friends that I made from that scene at Standard.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're all scattered around London, but I'm still like, that's my buddy, man. And we still message each other once in a while.
It's, yeah, a lot of my closest friends, a lot of my closest friends are literally just from that scene. We got together playing in bands.
You just turned up one night, there's a whole new clique of people that were there that were coming to support another band.
And you've got to remember, the whole reason that clique was there is just because a few bands, including us, just said, oh, we're local to each other, let's play together. What's the nearest venue? It's the Standard.
Yeah, but you got to remember, some of them came from South London.
Some of them, yeah.
And I'm still like friends with some of them now.
Yeah. But you have to remember that, like, for example, I won't name anyone, but a member of the band I was in at the time, the reason we all got together was just because we were sitting around our guitarist's house and said, let's call the Standard, because they're a local venue. Bang. And that promoter just started putting everyone on bills.
I mean, you have some venues which are doing it now.
Yeah.
Like you have Luna Lounge.
Well, Luna Lounge is different because Luna Lounge is different. For again, anyone doesn't know East London, Luna Lounge is kind of a relatively new venue in Leytonstone. Great punk nights, great hardcore nights, but that has a specific promoter that's set up there to do that.
Mine's empty.
Grazie.
But yeah, before we get off on a tangent, the whole point of this is networking.
If you're younger, let's say you're not quite at the age we're talking about. So we're imagining speaking to guys who are around our age, so kind of 25, 24. Guys who are really kind of getting their career moving, let's say post-uni. If you're maybe a little bit younger, so if you were just passed by that MySpace kind of generation, something that's really important to do is just to reach out to individuals. You may do it already, but just think about the different aspects you want to kind of fulfill, whether it be career-wise, whether it be contacts. Just reach out as many people as you can. And I don't mean some shitty little advertisement or plug little DMs saying, oh, can you check this out? Say, oh, hi, man. You know, I know you're from this world. I'm interested in doing this. Can you help me out? Can you put me in contact with someone? It sounds so basic, but so many people won't do it.
But the funny thing is, once you do it, you realise that there is actually a
people want to help you out because helping someone out in that sense is
But
relatively
it needs
easy.
to be genuine. I think people forget that these kind of things need to be genuine.
Yes. But that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Gary Vee is a great example of this. So he talks about how to build a community, and he's like, look, you're going to be shit for like the first 18 months, and you got to try it out. And the only way, like, it's harder now telling people to do that. Be like, hey, just DM people, and, you know, things will just magically happen. Like, It doesn't work that way. But I think adding value, I mean, the way I used to position it when I used to, like, reach out to people, it wasn't like, hey, check out my band. Like, people do that now, and they send you friend requests and stuff, and it's really annoying. And you just, like, you look at the profile, it's a guy screaming into a mic, and like, nope.
Fuck off.
I don't know. I know what this is
get
going.
all the time. Don't
And
want
then
it.
you're gonna get a private message being like long paragraph about their band, and you're like,
Make it seem like you're not just copy and pasting something.
right, it's
say,
all
"Hey,
copy
man,
and paste.
need help
I
with
used to
this."
do it where it was like you'd look at the profile, and then you'd write a genuine, sincere like message. Or if there's like let's say there's like a thread going on Instagram or like images, you kind of add value. You don't just be like fun or like put a emoji.
Try not to look like a sociopath and try to look human.
Add some value. Like if someone's talking about a certain topic, engage in the conversation, because people want to get to know people that add value.
Yep.
And I think going back to like where Gary Vee kind of inspired like how to nail it was you add value. So when I used to message people, I used to do it in a way where it adds value, or it starts a really healthy conversation of something cool, where people get to know you in a certain way.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. And I think that's like goes back down to kind of like marketing and understanding like who you're trying to get to know.
So
It's about connecting to
it's
people.
about outreach. It's again and doing it in a human way. Just speaking to someone, saying, "Hey, you know, let's say there's a friend of a friend. Let's say you want to get into pottery, and you know a friend of a friend. You know, there's a friend of a friend who is in the pottery world. You just, you know, all you have again. It sounds so basic, but all you have to do is just reach out, DM them, and say, "Hey, look, I'm a friend of Jason. He tells me you're in pottery. Can you help me out? Can you give me some contacts?" It sounds so basic, but so many people are afraid to do it because one, they may not have grown up in those kind of circumstances we were talking about earlier, and two, people are nervous about speaking to people they've never spoken to before.
Yeah, it's true, but like when I was in the band, you had this flow. You knew like you could reach out to like, any guitarist, and they kind of like give you a good response.
I mean, I think when if you grow up in one of those little scenes like we did, I think you're so driven at that age is that it doesn't bother you.
Hear me
just
out.
doing
Like
it. Yeah.
what I'm saying is like I'm just how they translate. So like
Yeah.
we used to reach out to like people in bands and stuff, and you know you're gonna get a good response.
Yeah.
But what I found really interesting when I decided to like go into photography,
Yeah.
I was always put off because I didn't understand the scene. But when I actually like took that technique and understood that, take this passion and be passionate with people who are in photography as well,
Yeah.
I got an amazing response. Like you could reach out to people and talk about lenses. Hey, how did you find using this camera? About this focal length.
Like attracts like at the end of the day.
And it worked.
So-
It was exactly the same.
Even if the reason you want to speak to someone is somewhat self-serving, let's be honest, you're talking about, you know, your career. At the end of the day, you are speaking to them about their world of interest and knowledge. So about their forte. So I mean they're gonna somewhat, you know, respond positively, at least if they're not arseholes. So
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it's. But I think, like you said, the thing which kind of like got the snowball effect going was when you're young, you're so passionate about wanting to like be in a band and stuff that nothing else mattered. And you didn't care if it didn't work out. And I think that's the kind of attitude you need to have now. Like, just approach people with that kind of like fearless drive where it's like, I don't care if it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a go no matter what.
Yeah.
And do it from a sincere way. When people try to start a business, they don't have that safe place to fail. When you're a band, you have a safe environment to fail. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
But you actually, the likelihood of succeeding or like building good contacts is way higher.
Yeah.
When it comes to business, you will write this like long paragraph of emails and like sending out stuff, and it just nothing works out because it's just not genuine. You're just trying too hard.
Yes.
You're not doing it from it's not safe. It's too safe.
Do you know when people go on and they go on moaning about the old white man's club?
Never heard of that.
So it's kind of a saying that a lot of people, I suppose, now, and what they mean by that is that how, let's say, business and local government or government is dominated by old white men.
Right, okay.
What that is that is people who can connect to each other and contact each other, being able to give people a leg up and help.
Well, like, okay, I got
People
you.
who are very similar and can easily speak to each other and contact each other, they may have, interpersonal connections, whether it be via, friends and, family members. The reason that exists away from, obvious structures in the past in British society, etc., is just because, like helps like or like attracts like. So the same applies to anyone else's career. If you can connect to someone just by saying, hey, I really like what you do, or hey, I know you do this, this is what I want to move into, can you please help me out? And it just connects with someone, particularly on that primal level, because they've been there before, where they want to go, I want to be a junior potterer, I don't know what a potter is.
That's true, like when I'm at work and then someone will be like, oh, I want to get into photography, and you're like, I automatically just open up and I'm like, sit down, let's go.
Yep.
What do you need? What do you want? What's your shooting style? What do you like? And I'm just like, giving them a whole list, telling them what to do. Actually, the funny story, it was yesterday, I was at work, right? And there was a colleague of mine, and she was telling me of like, how she was like, oh, I want to be doing eyelashes. I want to start my eyelash business. And I was like, okay, yeah, but everyone, there's so many eyelash in business out there. Why is it such a big deal? And she was like, no, but mine's different. I was like, okay, tell me why do you stand out? It took her 10 minutes.
I don't use Vietnamese slaves.
No, no, she'll like make the eyelashes. But the point what I'm trying to make is like, don't do that, man. It's not funny. Anyway, the point she was trying to make, she took 10 minutes to try and figure out why she stood out. And I was like, is it? And I was like, okay, so it's a personal touch thing. Like, you provide a good service for people because you provide that personal touch. People can rely on you. They're like the kind of like human interaction they get. They feel well looked after.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. That's one thing. Okay, so what else is it that why do people come to someone else because there's such a big broad market for it? Well, because the way I do it, it retains your natural lashes. And I was like, okay, so you got a good health aspect going there as well. You got two big reasons why people would choose you rather than nothing else. And then she was like, oh yeah.
But that's more a USP.
No, I'm just saying like, and then I was like, okay, cool. So.
Yeah.
After talking to you, we've kind of just we bullet pointed two main ethoses, what you need to live by and what you need to believe in your business. Because if you don't believe in those things and like really scream it out, people aren't going to believe in you.
Yeah.
People buy what you believe. So the other thing was, I was like, all right, cool. We're working in this shop right now. You got Geezer over there. He's a creative director, and you said you need models to start getting your business together. Mm-hmm. And you're moaning about you don't know people, you don't know models, you don't know how to get it up and running. Just speak to him, tell him what you do and what you're looking for. She comes back to me after 15 minutes and gives me a big hug saying, I've got 2 models, I've got a shoot on Monday. I was like, but what, I think what it was, she could have done that anyway, but what it was, we had this conversation and I got fired up and I got believing in her business and got passionate about what she does. So she could approach that and present it to someone.
Sometimes you literally need to point out the obvious to someone, and that goes for me as well.
It was like the best feeling for me as well, because as me, don't forget, I was the one helping her out as well here. So I was like passionate about her coming to me and telling me.
It goes back to that old phrase, you don't ask, you don't get.
But it wasn't even that.
Sometimes you have to point it out to someone.
And the other thing is like, you have this circle, like, you want to help someone, they want to help you, they want to help. You keep bouncing off that happiness. What's so funny?
Sorry, doesn't matter.
Okay, we've got the 20-minute mark. He's right.
So we're basically the 20-minute mark now. We're just going to wrap this up. So, bullet points. Effectively, go back to, let's say, your days as a teenager. Let's say you go back to look at the instant messages on your Facebook, or let's go back even further to MySpace if you can access that. I doubt you can.
I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
And just see how you used your time. You're not pestering people, but hitting people up on instant messages saying, hey man, I hear you want to, a band for a show. I've got a band if you want,
Reflect on what you did.
Reflect on what
how
you
passionate
did.
you were.
reflect on that, look back over the kind of things you said to people, how sort of passionate and human you were, and see how you can convert that today for adult usage, whether it be for career, whether it be for, entrepreneurial reasons. Just use that simple, teenage, passionate, driven way of connecting with people.
Be fearless.
Be fearless.
And don't
be afraid to ask.
Have a safe place to fail. That's literally it.
I think that's it for now, and for next time, goodbye.
Ciao, ciao.